Last Tuesday, I was grabbing a coffee at this tech hub downtown.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I sit down next to this guy who, I mean, he looked like he just won the lottery. He was hunched over his laptop, completely glued to the screen.
Okay, I can picture this. What was he looking at?
It was a real-time dashboard, just flickering with green arrows and like millions and millions of views. He was practically vibrating with excitement.
Wow.
And he turns to me, he shows me these clips he's making, 15-second videos, just a chaotic mix of loud music, flashing subtitles, total sensory overload.
The classic dopamine loop content.
Exactly. He even whispered it. He leans over and goes, "It's the dopamine loop. I've turned human attention into a commodity."
He was so proud of it.
And to him, those millions of hollow views were, what, proof that he'd cracked the code?
Ironclad proof. He didn't care about the substance, you know? It was all about what he called financialized traffic, just harvesting eyeballs.
But then, the whole atmosphere in the coffee shop just shifted. A notification pushes to everyone's phone at the same time. The 2026 YouTube partner update had just gone live.
Oh, wow. Talk about timing.
I watched his face go from triumphant to just ashen in less than a minute. His views didn't disappear, but his entire business model had just been, well, liquidated.
The algorithm just turned off the tap.
It was more than that. It was like the new system saw his content as a biological threat. It filtered his traffic populism, as he called it, into this digital void. All the tricks he'd perfected were suddenly being flagged as spiritual depletion.
Spiritual depletion. That's a fascinating term for an algorithm to use.
It was stunning to see him go from feeling like he was printing money to realizing his influence was functionally worthless. That was the first real sign of what we're calling the algorithmic reckoning.
The logic had completely flipped.
Completely. It wasn't about who could grab an eye the fastest anymore. It was about who could deliver what the platform now calls physical form output. We are moving out of this era of digital noise and into a digital meritocracy.
Where the algorithm is basically acting as a civilizational immune system.
Yes. Purging the shallow, rewarding the profound. It made me realize, you know, we're not just looking at a policy change. This is about reclaiming human logic from the hands of the dopamine dealers. Okay, so let's unpack this. That story, it's more than just a dramatic anecdote, right? It's a perfect illustration of this huge systemic shift.
It really is.
The mission of this deep dive is to really understand the forces at play here, algorithmic, technological, economic, that are, you know, actively purging this shallow digital economy. We're going to trace the shift from those attention-grabbing dopamine loops to this new, really demanding meritocracy.
One that rewards depth, rigor, and measurable output.
Exactly, across every sector you can imagine.
And what's so fascinating is that your story sets up this foundational change. The system is fighting back against that spiritual depletion. But, I mean, what does that actually mean in practice?
Right, it sounds philosophical.
It does, but to an algorithm, it's not. It's just a collection of lethal metrics. Low session time, high bounce rates, superficial engagement. Those are the symptoms.
So the platforms realized this low-effort stuff was actually bad for business.
Bad for business and bad for society. They saw it was driving cognitive decline among users. This was a particular concern for policymakers in certain elite Asian demographics who were really worried about the impact of endless scrolling on future productivity.
So it became a matter of self-preservation for the platforms.
Exactly. They had to make a correction. And now we're seeing evidence everywhere, from content platforms to enterprise data, even physical product design, that critical thinking and high-quality execution, let's call it logical rigor, are becoming the core competitive advantages.
This isn't theoretical anymore. It's baked into the code.
It's manifesting in concrete platform mechanics and business models, all of them designed to filter out the noise.
That makes so much sense. The algorithm as an immune system, forcing the market to value substance. So let's start with the flashpoint. That 2026 YouTube shift that just wiped out that guy's career.
Right.
It signals the system's total intolerance for traffic populism, for that cheap pursuit of volume. The key is no longer just a standalone viral hit, is it? It's the sequencing of content.
Exactly. This is the heart of what we can call the new calculus of attention, and it's all encapsulated in something called the momentum multiplier effect.
Okay, break that down for us.
The system is moving way beyond just looking at initial clicks or views. It's now measuring true longitudinal engagement. How long do people really stick around?
So if my video performs way above my channel's average.
Right. Let's say you normally hold viewers for 40% of a video, but this new one holds them for 70%. That is a massive, reliable signal of quality to the algorithm.
And what does the algorithm do with that signal? How does it reward me?
It grants you a temporary hidden boost. We call it a priority test. Your very next upload gets tested on a much broader, more diverse audience pool.
How much broader?
We're talking maybe 5 times your normal sample size, pushed out within the first few hours. It's like the platform is giving you a temporary venture capital fund for your content.
It's saying, you proved you're a safe bet. Let's see if we can scale you globally right now.
That's exactly. It's an incredible opportunity, especially for smaller creators who are trying to break out of their niche.
But I'm guessing there's a catch.
There's a huge catch. It requires strategic genius, and that's where most creators just fall short. This momentum multiplier is highly perishable. It's a very short window.
So what do most people do?
The average creator, they hit that one great video, they get excited by the spike in views, and then they post something totally unrelated. A vlog about their cat, a random product review.
And the audience thread just breaks.
It snaps. The system sees the new, expanded audience reject that unrelated content, the boost is immediately nullified, and the creator's visibility just snaps right back to their normal low level. They've completely wasted their golden ticket.
So the smart play, the strategic response, has to be chaining your content. You have to keep that narrative cohesive.
Absolutely. The winning strategy is to make sure your next 3 to 5 uploads are deeply thematically related. You have to chain them together.
Give me an example of what that looks like in practice.
A strategic creator, after that breakout long-form video, will immediately leverage that boost. They'll post a short-form recap of the key points from the long video. There may be a poll asking a question related to the topic, and then crucially, the next planned long-form video in that same series.
So you're keeping the initial audience engaged across different formats.
And you're compounding the session time. You're building on that initial quality signal. You're telling the algorithm, this creator doesn't just make one good video, they build entire intellectual pathways for our viewers.
Which brings us back to the platform's core driver, session time. The ultimate metric is utility. If you keep people watching longer, you are literally saving the platform from a retention crisis.
Precisely. This whole mechanism is rooted in the platform prioritizing content that compounds overall session time. Their business model depends on deep, sticky engagement, not these fly-by-night clicks from the dopamine dealers.
Channels with high binge-watching behavior are the safest bet.
The absolute safest. We saw data from one creator who was pulling in 30,000 watch hours in just 28 days.
30,000, that's insane.
You can't achieve that with superficial disposable content. That requires high-quality, evergreen material that consistently holds attention and makes people want to hit play next. This is how the algorithm ensures its own economic survival and, you could argue, combats the societal cost of that cognitive decline we talked about.
Okay, this is where it gets really, really interesting for me. Because this demand for intellectual architecture, for logical rigor, it's not just siloed in YouTube's long-form strategy, is it?
Not at all. It's a philosophical shift that's being reflected across the entire attention economy.
So what are we seeing?
We're seeing a widespread move towards depth over frequency. That old tactic of just posting superficial stuff 10 times a day to game the system, what your dopamine dealer in the coffee shop was doing, that's completely past its prime.
So audiences are actually rewarding creators who go deeper, even if it means they post less often.
100%. If you spend 2 weeks researching a topic to produce one truly substantive video, you will now outperform the creator who posts 10 low-effort, low-value videos in that same period. The market now values intellectual scarcity.
And this emphasis on substance connects directly to authenticity, which is a fascinating cultural correction. I mean, for years, we were told the future was all about avatars and the metaverse.
And that idea has essentially collapsed under the weight of its own inauthenticity, hasn't it? We saw this stark cultural correction where the hype around digital avatars, VTubers, the whole metaverse concept, it just rapidly declined.
Meta had to pull back massively on that.
Massively. Despite astronomical initial investment, they had to scale back or just pull the plug on several of their flagship projects. It turned out to be a classic solution looking for a problem. People were tired of Zoom calls and digital fatigue. They didn't want their second life to be as structured and impersonal as their first one.
So if people are rejecting avatars, what is it that they want instead?
They want real faces. Real faces are now in high demand. It emphasizes that consumers prioritize authentic self-presentation over any kind of artificiality.
What's the evidence for that?
The data is really clear on this. If a creator changes their authentic voice or presentation, say, they start using heavy digital filters, or even, and this is interesting, they get extensive cosmetic work that affects their natural enunciation.
The audience can actually tell and they don't like it.
They abandon them. That shift toward the artificial, toward the inauthentic, it's deeply off-putting because it violates the trust that's inherent in that real-face transaction. The physical form output here is the verifiable, genuine human being behind the screen.
That's a powerful validation of human connection. But okay, beyond just being authentic, how are creators adapting their technical strategy to meet this new demand for rigor from the algorithms?
They're being forced into extreme rigor in their keyword optimization. They have to move beyond just relying on simple hashtags.
Why are hashtags not enough anymore?
The system is designed to reward content that's easily indexed and highly specific. Hashtags were once the primary discovery tool, but they've been de-emphasized. Instagram, for example, limited hashtags to only 5 per post.
That's a huge signal of their decreasing importance.
A massive signal. So now, creators have to load their communications, whether it's what they say in a video, what they write in the caption, even text on screen in the graphics with precise high-value keywords.
It sounds like we're almost going back to old-school SEO, but for social video.
That's a great way to put it. But with a new twist involving visual content, creators now need to be utilizing alt text for all their images to boost discoverability in social search.
Wait, hold on. Alt text, that's a technique that's, what, 2 decades old? It was originally designed for accessibility and for Google search. Why is that suddenly the hot new hack on a visual platform like Instagram?
It's not lazy design, it's logical optimization. Think about how people search now.
They're using TikTok and Instagram as search engines.
Exactly, they're bypassing Google. If you want to know about sustainable Nordic furniture design, you're not starting on Google anymore. You search right inside the platform.
And for that to work, the platform needs rich metadata to match the user's intent.
And that's where alt text comes in. If your photo's alt text just says a chair in a room, it's useless. But if your alt text says the image shows a mid-century modern Scandinavian-style dining chair crafted from reclaimed oak wood,
now that image is a high-value indexable piece of data.
and the algorithm will push your post when a user searches that precise keyword. It rewards specificity and intellectual structure, even in visual media. The whole ecosystem is recalibrating to reward signal over noise.
Rigor over recklessness. Okay, so if rigor is the new currency of attention, let's transition that same principle into the world of enterprise value, because the same thing is happening there, isn't it? Rigor and intelligence are driving huge financial gains.
It's a perfect parallel. We're seeing this monetization flip where data itself is becoming a commodity. The new currency is intelligence.
And for years, CEOs have struggled to actually monetize the mountains of data they have. Generative AI is being positioned as the answer.
It's a critical move up the value chain. For decades, companies built data lakes, complex dashboards, hired BI analysts. But all that really produced was reporting. It told you what happened last quarter.
It was backwards looking.
Entirely. Gen AI enables something fundamentally new. Intelligence at scale. It moves beyond simple analytics to actually enabling reason and autonomous decision-making. It can extract insights from petabytes of data and then, this is the key part, turn those insights into action autonomously within business workflows.
That's the real shift, from just hoarding data to being a truly data-driven enterprise.
Exactly. And this isn't abstract. We have fantastic real-world examples of this intelligence delivery becoming a massive, sticky revenue stream.
Like Walmart, they're not just selling goods anymore, they're selling knowledge.
Precisely. Look at Walmart's Scintilla platform. Walmart Data Ventures created this specifically to commercialize their massive trove of shopper behavior data. They sell access to this intelligence to their suppliers.
And the goal is to help those suppliers uncover deep customer insights they just couldn't get anywhere else.
And its success was immediate. The revenue grew an astonishing 80% quarter over quarter in its first year.
80% growth for a mature company like Walmart is just, it's unheard of. That shows you how valuable and indispensable this intelligence is.
And the stickiness is the real indicator of its value.
Yeah.
Scintilla has a 100% customer renewal rate. All their major suppliers signed on for at least another 3 years.
Why? What makes it so sticky?
Because the intelligence is immediately actionable and defensible, and Walmart's not stopping there. They just launched Scintilla Insights Activation. It's an AI-powered component that moves beyond dashboards.
So it's not just showing you data, it's telling you what to do with it.
It's more than that. It provides automated, real-time recommendations for advertising and audience targeting. The agent doesn't just tell you what to do, it often executes the action itself within the ad platform. That's intelligence action delivered instantly.
So that specialized intelligence, built on proprietary data, becomes the new competitive moat for any big player. If I'm a bank or a pharma company, I need my own specialized intelligence derived from my deep domain history.
Absolutely. And this is mirrored in the trend of specialized, industry-specific LLMs. The premier example has to be Bloomberg's 50 billion parameter Bloomberg GPT.
So why can't a general LLM handle the world of finance?
Because generic models, the ones trained on the general internet, they really struggle with the dense, structured, and jargon-heavy data of finance. They tend to hallucinate.
So what makes Bloomberg GPT different?
It's the proprietary data foundation. This model was trained on 40 years of financial information news archives, filings, pricing models, market chatter that no one else on Earth has access to.
The depth of that domain knowledge is its entire competitive advantage.
It is. It's cloud native, designed to handle dense structured data alongside all the unstructured text that defines the financial world. If you ask a general LLM about a specific credit default swap from 2008, it might make something up. If you ask Bloomberg GPT, it answers with the institutional knowledge of 4 decades.
So if corporate data is the raw material, these specialized LLMs are the heavy machinery turning it into polished intelligence as a product. And that product can now act on its own.
Correct. And that brings us directly to agentic AI. Autonomous AI agents are emerging as this critical competitive advantage because they act autonomously to amplify revenue streams. This is the ultimate physical form output of data science.
Let's clarify the difference here. An LLM versus an agent?
An LLM is a reasoning engine. An agent is the combination of that reasoning engine, a memory system, and crucially, the ability to use tools like connecting to an API, sending an email, executing a trade to achieve a multi-step goal.
So how are these agents creating new revenue streams right now? How are they moving beyond just internal efficiency?
They're commercializing expertise. Service providers are taking their specialized domain, knowledge, legal compliance, complex tax prep, procurement strategy, and they're encapsulating that rigor into white-labeled APIs.
They're selling it as intelligence as a product.
That's the term. Think about it. Instead of paying a consultant $500 an hour for a report, a customer pays a recurring fee to plug into an API that delivers that expertise and executes the task autonomously within their own workflow. It fundamentally restructures the entire service industry.
The potential sounds revolutionary. We're talking about automating not just physical labor, but high-end cognitive labor. Is the adoption keeping pace with the hype, though?
And that is the challenge, the inherent friction of the maturity challenge. While the potential of Gen AI is massive, we're seeing reports that up to 90% of these transformative AI projects are stuck at the pilot stage.
90%? That's a huge number. Why the bottleneck? If the tech is so powerful, why are companies failing to implement it?
The failure to scale is mostly due to deeply entrenched barriers. First, you have structural barriers. Weak AI governance, poor data quality that poisons the models, fragmented tool sets that don't talk to each other.
And the second type of barrier?
Cultural barriers. There's a real absence of incentives to reward thoughtful risk-taking. Implementing AI at scale requires fundamental changes to job roles and processes, and most organizations are culturally resistant to that level of disruption.
So the technology enables the efficiency gains, but the organization itself limits them.
Exactly. And this friction means that the companies who do embrace logical rigor in their data systems are just widening the gap against their less prepared competitors.
Okay, so if the competitive edge in business is about monetizing intelligence and eliminating legacy drag, let's look at the ultimate asset that needs to be restructured and monetized: our own individual identity. We're shifting gears a bit, but we're staying on this theme of verifiable value and control. Let's talk about how our identity is moving from being a liability to being an actual source of income.
This is a critical point. Traditionally, the financial value that's generated by identity verification, it flows entirely to intermediaries. The individual's left exposed and uncompensated.
Give us an example of that.
Think about when you sign up for a new fintech service. They have to verify you. So they pay a third-party verification provider to run checks against government or credit data.
Right.
That verification provider captures the fee. The fintech gets a verified user. But you, the individual whose identity is being verified, you get nothing. You only bear the risk of a data breach.
That's the extractive paradigm that's defined the digital economy for decades. Corporations get the value, we get the risk.
It is. But self-sovereign identity, or SSI, secured cryptographically, is finally changing that. It's giving power back to the individual.
And the core component of this is the digital wallet.
Yes, but it's not just a place for money. These are cryptographically secured vaults that hold your verifiable credentials. Things like your driver's license, your university degree, professional certifications, financial history, all issued by trusted authorities.
And the key distinction is that the wallet is private and portable. I own it, not a platform or a government.
Entirely. You own it, you control it. And the magic trick that enables privacy while still allowing for verification is the zero-knowledge proof, or ZKP.
This is a really important technical concept. We need to break this down properly.
It is foundational to this whole shift.
Yeah.
And the simplest way to understand it is that it lets you prove a specific fact about yourself without revealing the underlying sensitive data that proves that fact.
Can you give us an analogy?
Okay, imagine you need to prove you have a specific colored ball, but you don't want to show the verifier the ball itself. The ZKP system is like having a blind man verify the color. You take the ball into a separate private box. He gives you a randomized procedure to follow that will only work if the ball is the correct color. He can't see the ball, but he gains absolute certainty that you have the right one because you successfully completed the procedure.
So the verifier gains certainty, but I retain my privacy.
That's it. In the digital world, this means you can cryptographically prove you're over 21 without revealing your actual birth date. You can confirm your net worth exceeds a certain threshold for an investment without exposing your actual bank balances. The verifier gets the logical rigor they need, but you keep complete control.
This is how identity moves from a liability to an asset.
It is.
So if I control my verifiable credentials, what does this mean for the financialization of verification? How do I actually start making money from simply being myself?
The shift is profound because it completely inverts the economic model. Since you control your credentials and the verification process, you can attach explicit economic terms to their use. The verification itself becomes a deployable, monetizable asset.
So wait, you're saying instead of the fintech company paying a third-party provider, they would pay me directly for the service of verifying my own identity?
Precisely. Platforms that require trustworthy, verified users like highly regulated marketplaces or certain social networks can compensate individuals directly for the value that that verification provides to their ecosystem.
And how would that compensation work?
We're already seeing the emergence of token-based reward systems and loyalty programs tied directly to the act of identity verification. It completely restructures the economics of identity. Your verified credentials, that physical form output of your identity, can be deployed repeatedly across different services, and each deployment offers a direct economic benefit back to you, not just to some intermediary.
That is the ultimate expression of a digital meritocracy. You get compensated not for clicks, but for the inherent verifiable quality and truthfulness of your digital self. This entire shift towards rewarding verifiable truth and logical rigor is fundamentally changing the digital world. Let's move back to content creation, but look at it through the lens of industrial-grade output. Now that a lot of the basic production tasks are being automated by embodied AI, the source material suggests the real contest isn't about speed anymore. The new battlefield is civilizational depth and heritage and logical rigor.
That language is spot on. It really shows a deep understanding of the new value chain. If an AI can handle the mechanical editing, the basic scripting, even voice cloning, then the human value lies in the intellectual architecture, the sheer defensible complexity of the output.
And this naturally favors creators whose work is founded on structure, evidence, and long-term project execution.
Over that ephemeral viral inspiration.
Yes.
And the ultimate demonstration of this is high-end content manufacturing, specifically what we're seeing in Chinese gaming.
The case study of AI-augmented gaming, particularly a title like Black Myth, Wukong, it seems to showcase this mandate for depth and rigor perfectly. This isn't just a game, it's a massive engineering project.
It is. And they're using deep AI integration to achieve an incredibly high-quality physical form output in every single aspect of the game.
So what specific AI integrations are they using?
For instance, they use deep learning algorithms so that the non-player characters, the NPCs, actually learn from player actions.
So the enemies adapt to my playstyle.
Over time, yes. If you consistently use a specific dodge and counter move, the AI registers that pattern, and the NPC will adapt its combat strategy to counter you. This is combined with true contextual awareness, where NPCs react intelligently to changes in the environment, like a collapsed pillar or a sudden change in the lighting.
And I heard they're even using emotional AI.
They are, to enhance the storytelling and immersion. It allows characters to display a range of realistic, context-appropriate emotions, moving way beyond those pre-scripted dialogue reactions we're used to.
That immediately elevates the entire experience. It's not a static, repeatable challenge anymore. It's a dynamic environment that actually respects the player's intelligence.
It does. And the combat specifically benefits from this complex AI backbone. The advanced combat AI is engineered for profound strategic depth.
How so?
Enemies use predictive movement, allowing them to anticipate what you're going to do and move proactively to block or dodge, turning combat into a genuine game of chess. In group battles, they use sophisticated algorithms for tactical coordination.
So they work together against you.
They orchestrate their attacks.
Yeah.
One might draw your attention while another flanks you from behind, or two might execute a synchronized stun move. On top of that, bosses use adaptive combat styles, changing their fighting techniques based on how effective you're being, ensuring the challenge remains optimally balanced. It's an incredible intellectual exercise just to build this.
And that level of intellectual infrastructure isn't just in the combat, right? It's applied to the world building and the narrative itself.
Yes, through narrative AI. The story itself evolves based on your choices, and it goes far beyond simple branching dialogue. The AI manages complex character relationship modeling, tracking thousands of subtle interactions that then influence dialogue and loyalty across the entire game world.
And they use procedural quest generation too, I believe.
They do. The AI dynamically creates side quests that are contextually relevant to your current location, your resources, or your character alignment. It ensures fresh content even if you play through it multiple times. This entire structure, the combat, the world, the story, it's the definition of logical rigor applied to entertainment manufacturing at the highest possible level.
And that rigor is also apparent in how other major East Asian studios are approaching global markets. They're designing for universal resonance from day one.
That's the Genshin Impact model from MiHoYo. They treat content like a global industrial product. The game is an adventure across 7 lands, and each one is explicitly engineered to feature architectural styles from different world regions.
So Liu is based on China, Inazuma on Japan, Mondstadt on Germany.
Exactly. But they also incorporate complex, layered references. Sumeru, for example, is based on a blend of South Asian and Middle Eastern architecture, with beautiful Islamic design elements like intricate tile work and massive domes.
That level of detail requires serious logistical and intellectual infrastructure. You have to ensure global appeal and cultural respect.
It absolutely does. It means treating content as an industrial product that's engineered for scale. And MiHoYo supports this with extensive multi-language delivery, 13 text languages and 4 voiceover languages. It's a truly inclusive, high-quality experience.
And the founder of MiHoYo has a computer science background, right?
He does. Kai-Ha Yu holds a computer science degree and established a company's own AI research lab years ago. They even co-author academic papers with Fudan University on AI agents that can dynamically generate character behavior. It just highlights that deep technical expertise and logical rigor are the absolute prerequisite for success in this new global content economy. It's the polar opposite of those shallow, flashing clips the dopamine dealer was pushing.
However, this pursuit of a digital meritocracy and high-output manufacturing, it comes with complexities, especially around content control and ethical trade-offs.
You have to acknowledge that these huge, complex projects operating under specific jurisdictions are going to face scrutiny over content control and data privacy. The developer of Black Myth, Wukong, faced controversy when an affiliated company issued a list of forbidden live stream topics.
What was on the list?
They specifically banned political discussions, certain interpretations of feminism, and also discussions about China's video game industry policies. On top of that, they've been accused of fostering a misogynistic culture in their presentation.
Which is especially relevant given the source material they're adapting, the novel Journey to the West.
Exactly. The original 16th century novel has these incredibly powerful female characters with significant agency figures like Princess Iron Fan and the female king of women's country. They possess great spiritual or temporal power.
And the accusation is that the game simplifies and demonizes them.
Yes, that it strips away their original complexity and agency. So it demonstrates this potential tension between the pursuit of extreme technical rigor in the game design and the necessity for civilizational depth and intellectual honesty when you're interpreting cultural heritage.
And data transparency remains a core issue for any firm operating globally under different governmental standards.
It's certainly a concern. We've seen major international regulatory action. I mean, Meta was fined $1.3 billion for violating EU data privacy laws back in 2023. That shows the risk.
So how are these companies responding?
Well, in response to that global scrutiny, publishers like Cognisphere, which is MyHoyo's Singapore-based publishing arm, they've proactively updated their privacy policies. They now clearly outline user rights over personal data, including the right to rectify inaccurate data and request deletion.
And they're localizing data storage.
They are. They specifically address global distribution by storing user data on servers in multiple regions, including the US, Hong Kong, the EU, Singapore, and Japan. It's a necessary attempt to align with diverse international standards to sustain their massive global growth.
Okay, so if the gaming sector shows us that logical rigor translates into rich digital products, let's pivot to our final sector, which shows this clear mandate for physical form output, the fashion industry. And here, the underlying driver is intense economic volatility, which makes quality and efficiency just non-negotiable for survival.
That is absolutely correct. The global fashion market is facing tremendous macroeconomic challenges that are forcing this fundamental shift back toward tangible quality. We've seen significant tariff turbulence.
How significant are we talking?
For instance, U.S. tariffs on apparel and footwear imports, they spiked dramatically from 13% all the way up to 54% before settling at 36%.
That's a staggering increase. It must drive up costs across the entire value chain.
It does. And when you compound that with consumer confidence issues and inflation, efficiency, and quality, they stop being optional. They become necessities for mitigating risk and just maintaining your margins.
And it seems like AI is the only way executives see to regain control in this tough environment.
They do. They identify scaling AI and related digital capabilities as the single biggest opportunity for 2026. And this isn't about small pilot programs anymore. It means integrating AI into everything from demand sensing and supply chain optimization to trend forecasting.
The pressure to do this must be severe.
It is. AI is projected to automate up to 30% of employee time by 2030 in Europe and the US. That's driving an immediate need for workers to reskill or transition roles. The companies that are harnessing AI to streamline things like product assortment, the way Levi's did to reduce their inventory complexity, they're the only ones effectively mitigating that tariff burden.
This volatility is also directly influencing consumer behavior, pushing them toward proven value and durability, and that's fueling what you call the resale and elevation game.
Consumers are actively shifting their discretionary spending. The resale sprint is the clearest proof of this. The secondhand fashion and luxury market is growing 2 to 3 times faster than the firsthand market.
And that's not just about sustainability, is it?
No, it's driven primarily by affordability concerns. With the rising prices in the primary market, consumers want high quality, but they need value.
And brands can't just ignore the secondhand market anymore. They have to engage with it strategically.
They have to. They're realizing that resale is an extension of their brand identity. So they're defining their own resale strategies, often using resale as a service providers, not just for a secondary revenue stream, but to fundamentally reinforce perceptions of quality and durability.
If your brand holds its value on the secondary market, it signals that you have high-quality physical form output.
Exactly. And crucially, resale is becoming a powerful customer acquisition tool. 43% of consumers who first discover a brand through resale then go on to purchase first-hand items later. It widens access to price-sensitive, quality-conscious customers.
And that leads directly to the elevation game, where mid-market players are capturing the aspirational customers who feel priced out of traditional luxury.
Correct. Traditional luxury brands, in a bid to signal exclusivity, raised their prices by an average of 61% between 2019 and 2025.
61%. That's a huge price hike.
It created a massive pricing vacuum, especially when those hikes weren't always matched by improvements in quality or creativity. So mid-market players, like H&M-owned COS, are thriving. They're focusing obsessively on value and demonstrable quality.
They're creating a bridge between mass market and luxury.
Exactly. They're capturing those aspirational shoppers squeezed out by the high luxury prices. COS focuses on ageless style, centered on the quality of materials and enduring design. It just demonstrates that high-quality execution and genuine, verifiable value are the keys to successful elevation in a volatile market.
Now, for the most literal and compelling example of this merger of form, function, and physical form output, smart eyewear. This category seems to embody our entire thesis.
It really does. Smart eyewear is now the fastest growing accessory category in the world. It's set to quadruple sales in 2026 and is projected to exceed $30 billion by 2030.
This breakout growth wasn't guaranteed, though. I mean, we all remember Google Glass.
Which was a technological failure because it was awkward, expensive, and it prioritized technology over design.
So what changed? Why is it succeeding now?
Two key technical advances converged with the design mandate. First, smaller components allowed the tech to become effectively invisible. Second, lower average prices, around $300 to $400, now made them accessible. But the crucial decision was prioritizing design first. This required design-first partnerships.
Tell us about the Meta and EssilorLuxottica collaboration with Ray-Ban.
That collaboration was built on an uncompromising design mandate. EssilorLuxottica was, and I'm quoting here, rigid on not compromising on design.
So the tech had to fit the iconic Wayfarer frame, not the other way around.
Exactly. Which meant the engineers had to demonstrate incredible logical rigor to shrink and integrate all those components without disrupting the beloved physical form. The result: smart glasses that look, feel, and function like regular glasses.
And they became a top-selling product.
In 60% of Ray-Ban's EMEA stores in late 2024, the volume driver is that perfect combination of style and function.
And the AI functionality itself is the core purchase driver. It shows that the value is in that seamless integration of intelligence into a tangible, desirable form.
Precisely. Multimodal AI powers the key features: the voice assistants, hands-free navigation, transcription. This seamless functionality, which aligns with the massive part of the market already using voice assistants, makes AI features one of the top 5 purchase drivers. This device is the ultimate expression of the physical form output mandate.
Blending complex, invisible technology and high-quality intelligence into a beautiful, functional, everyday physical product that doesn't feel like a gadget. So what really stands out here, looking across all these different sectors, from YouTube sequencing and verifiable identity to AI agents and quality-driven fashion, is that they all point to the same fundamental principle. The era of optimizing for quick, fleeting engagement, which was the entire business model of that dopamine dealer, it's just unequivocally over. The new currency is verified value, delivered with depth and rigor.
The logic has completely flipped. The market, the platforms, the consumer, they're all demanding authenticity and substance. Companies, content creators, and even individuals must now demonstrate tangible physical form output.
And that output could be a high-quality, architecturally deep game like Black Myth Wukong. It could be durable, verifiable fashion that holds its value.
Or it could be defensible intelligence products like Scintilla, or those cryptographically secured monetizable identity credentials. This digital meritocracy is actively purging the hollow views and rewarding those who build with depth and rigor in every single digital and physical sector.